Now
yes, yes, we're live.
Now we're live. All right.
I should
What's going on,
probably
everybody?
have, oh, isn't that interesting? My camera doesn't want to work now. Huh, son of a gun.
No camera
Oh,
tonight? Oh, there you go.
hey, hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to the set. I found that so funny. Somebody recently was like, I had like a private tutorial with them, and they were actually like seriously going, "Whoa, cool! That's actually the set from the show, isn't it?" And
The
I'm
set?
like, "Hey, this is my home."
Nice.
Anyway,
Yeah.
hello everybody. Welcome back. We haven't talked to you guys in a bit. Anyway.
Yeah, it's been a little while. So I'm sorry we didn't make it last week. Just kind of had some seriously busy stuff going on at the Coinigy offices. Couldn't make it. And to compound that, I quit smoking last week. So I was a wreck. I was an absolute wreck.
This is,
And,
I'll be 2 years, 2 years as of August I've been
Oh,
doing
congrats.
this. So I gotta get rid of this next, but yeah.
I'm on like 11 days and I did the Chantix thing. So I'm weaning myself off of Chantix now. So
take it easy, see? One day at a time, right?
Exactly. So I'm doing all right. I'm just keeping busy. I got one of these gimmicky things. So that keeps me busy.
Really?
Fidget
That's
spinner.
cool. Is that a Coinigy toy?
No, but hey, that's not a bad idea. We could get some fidget spinners printed up and send those out.
That'd be
Style.
awesome. In fact, I've had a lot of people on the site because actually I'm wearing Brian's going to strip show. I'm wearing my old prop trader uniform.
Nice.
When you get funded, you get one of these funded shirts. So I was wearing that for the site today in today's video, but and a lot of people are asking for sort of TRI swag. Swag? I think that's what you call it, right? Swag.
Yeah, we call it swag.
And you were sporting a really cool Coinigy shirt. What kind of thing?
Yep. Yeah, we have some T-shirts and some like I mentioned, we only have like 2 of the button downs, but at some point, once we finally get around to it, we'll have those up for sale. I think we do have.
Would be really cool. Would be Bill and a Rob bobblehead. That would be awesome.
I don't know about it. You got to get in on that too. We got to have a Brian bobblehead and an Alex bobblehead.
That'd be so choice. Anyway,
I don't know if we're at the bobblehead level yet.
Is this a show about cryptocurrencies?
Something like that, yeah. Hey, what's
Alex
up?
Made it.
Yo, you guys hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Are you in Ontario or are you here on the West Coast still?
No, I flew back on Sunday.
Oh, okay. You're back back amongst the living, eh?
Yeah, no, like I went to an awesome conference in Toronto on Monday with the Tapscots and a bunch of other businesses. No, it turned out really good.
Green tie?
Huh?
Green tie?
No, I wasn't dressing to impress. I was just kind of attending.
I went and saw Alex in Vancouver when he did his presentation, and he was looking dapper. He was a good-looking guy.
I saw somebody tweeted it. Yeah, I caught that one.
I mean, there's a photo of us at we got a couple good-looking guys in the space.
Yeah, there you go. And you guys are so tall, man. Whenever I'm around you guys, I feel like I'm just a little midget. Anyway. But this show's gone off on a funny tangent, hasn't it?
Oh, are we live right now? Oh, my God. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex.
I suppose that we should talk about cryptocurrency, shouldn't we?
Yeah, at some point. At some point, we'll get there. So
I think, I don't mean to interrupt, but Will and I actually agreed beforehand. Will, you were going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Coinigy, so maybe I should.
Yeah, just a couple. Yeah, as far as Coinigy updates, just a couple things. So we just pushed out a deployment so you can now track your Ethereum Classic wallets. That's a big thing people have been asking for. We have quite a few wallets on the way. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know like Pivx is one, and quite a few others. What else did we recently? We recently deployed btcmarkets.net, which for charting. So that's an Australian exchange. So we finally have some AUD pairs on Coinigy, and those charts are going to be basically coming along shortly. They're populating with data as we speak. Somebody's asking about the iOS app. A few people. So what we're doing as far as the iOS app, tentatively we're saying Q4 2017. So we're rebuilding the entire thing in React Native. So as you guys know, as far as our Android app, that's currently a native Android app. But we wanted a little bit more control. So we're basically using the same code base on Android and iOS. So we're going to have a re-released Android app built in React Native, as well as an iOS app available towards the end of the year. So, and that's kind of, if you guys have seen the roadmap, that's kind of what the roadmap video, that's what we've been projecting essentially. So it takes quite a bit of time to get that stuff going. As far as everything else, that's about all that really pops in my head right now. But
well, speaking of roadmaps, I did a release today of the quarterly report from Ubic, all the stuff we've kind of done in the last 3 months since the network launched, and some stuff that's kind of on the burners and stuff that we have planned for the future. So for all intents and purposes, it is a roadmap. But yeah, there's some pretty good info on there.
Good for you.
Good deal.
That's on the Ubic.
How's that APX token going?
I think total value, if you're still valuing a Ubic that he raised $1 million Ubic, and I think he's up to like 400 BTC or well over 400 BTC. So he's probably at like 600 Bitcoin total, which is not a small amount. I think that's getting close to like 2 million Canadian.
Is that the objective? What was the objective?
Total supply would be 1 million UBQ and 1,000 Bitcoin. So he might get close to that. We got some late stage investors that are interested as we're kind of shopping around right now.
I guess I'm more curious, how's the Ubic side of it going? Oh, that was timely.
Alarm bells going off here. Don't worry.
The wrong thing, Brian.
Ubic is fine. Ubic is fine. No, it's going really good. We made a lot of good connections at these conferences. Like I was in Vancouver last week with Brian, but I also had meetings the entire time I was there. And then I was in Toronto on Tuesday. So yeah, overall, like I'm pretty excited. I'm just kind of following up on emails, going through the business cards I collected. People from the universities in Vancouver kind of want to have me speak at there. One I'm most excited about is the British Columbia Securities Exchange.
Oh, Jesus.
They're kind of like, yeah, Alex, we really want to work with you and see what kind of projects we can give you the capability to build. Like, I'm like, oh, you want to give me a sandbox? It's like, why does everyone call it that? I'm like, because like you can put up 4 walls and say I'm only allowed to build in that, but I can build anything, right? So I don't know, issuing like Canadian dollars on the chain would be kind of cool. Something similar to Tether. We have a couple use cases already, like token mortgages. So like banks and a lot of credit unions trade mortgages back and forth. So we need like a medium for exchange for that. Hedge funds. I got a hedge fund that's kind of interested in talking to me. I think that's more on consulting side, but who knows? It could turn something similar into like APX. But a lot of traditional finance wants to get in on this, and when we're offering a really stable platform with a really good dev team and a lot of reputation, they really want to work with us.
Awesome.
So that's
exciting, man.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, looking around the auto plant thinking, why am I spending too much time here? But I got way more promising options, but at the same time, I want GM to be like a customer of mine. So I'm kind of still buying my time here, trying to make sure like they understand what I'm working on. And, when they have downtime related to something I can fix, it's really easy for them to drop some money on it. So
wouldn't that be funny if you actually are like working through the university systems and then you can actually get introduced to some GM guy from this and you like land a deal with them and you go, oh, by the way, I'm working. Wait, are you in Sarnia? Is that where you are? Somewhere
I'm near like London and
London, yeah.
Waterloo. But the funny thing is, like one of the guys on our team, Chris Hansen, so he works for SAP, and on behalf of SAP, he already went to GM headquarters in Michigan.
Oh.
To speak to their R&D team and educate them on blockchain. So like we've already kind of met with the higher ups. Yeah. So those doors have been opened already. It's just a matter of now opening them on.
Hey, honestly, Alex, the sky's the limit for a guy like you.
Thanks, Brian.
The sky is the. I mean, Honestly, I could see it. You could literally be, you know, give you a good 20 years, you're definitely going to be one of the men. I can
20
see it already.
years.
It's freaky.
That sounds, 20 years is a long time. Can we
when you're my age.
All right. No, like already now I'm like looking at like what
So
my
viewers,
dad.
honestly, if you're not familiar with Alex, seriously, this guy's the shit, man. You get familiar with this guy. Don't mean to get off topic there. Sorry.
I just want to learn. That's all.
You're the man. And you know what was beautiful was that because you're so pure, when you were standing on the stage in Vancouver, it was beautiful. You were just talking from the heart. And it was so funny, you know, from a guy who's in the crypto world, you said a lot of cute little lines that we say on YouTube, like, oh, this isn't a pants optional meeting. Do you remember when you said that? And all the fucking all the you know, the suits in the audience, I didn't hear anybody say anything, and I was like, oh no.
I thought I heard a chuckle or two when, yeah, I said, you know, usually I'm behind a webcam talking to this many people, and you know, pants are optional, but I'll see if I can cope. You know, sometimes I'm usually too
so in our community, right, everybody understands that, right? We all have a good chuckle, and it's like scores points. So the point I'm just saying was, it was so beautiful to watch you. You were just so natural. You knew your shit, and you were just like, you know, here it is. And I could see it. I mean, Ubik's ready to go. If anybody really wants to latch on, it's ready to go. So it was just really interesting to see the new world being introduced to the old world and their sort of reaction, right? Remember that guy? There was one guy in the meeting, and he was like, yeah, but what did the establishment think of you? What are they're probably not very happy. Remember that guy in the front row?
Yeah, and I talked to him after the show too, or after the presentation, and I'm just like, yeah, there's always going to be the underground, and you know, I think Bitcoin and blockchain is at a point now where anyone who says Bitcoin is a scam is really losing a lot of credibility, because it's way past that point now. Like,
yeah, well, they're missing the point. You know, what I actually see, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, is if we can ever get to these decentralized exchanges, and this is scary because, you know, Big Brother is watching these shows, but they need to understand, if we ever get to the point of decentralized exchanges, then the whole concept of currency and the whole concept of nation state, it disappears.
I mean, there are some decentralized exchanges out there currently, but I don't think they're necessarily able to handle, you know, Poloniex style volume and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, you know, once, I think that's really kind of the key. You know, we need some kind of Lightning Network decentralized exchange type of situation going on, and I'm sure we'll get there eventually. You know, I mean,
I've told all my community, and these guys, you know, they're pretty darn smart people. Whoever figures out that nuts, you could literally, it could be like kind of actually, I know it sounds crazy, but it could be something like a Gutenberg. 500 years from now, the person that figured that out, kind of along with Satoshi, it could actually have that kind of accolade. That's my crazy opinion. So anyway,
right on.
Alex is being paged.
Yeah, it looks like Alex is out there. Maybe we should jump into some BTC LTC talk.
Yeah, enough of this damn opinion and rhetoric. Let's get on with the charts. Okay, why don't we start off with just a quick boo at BTC? Of course, probably not a bad idea to sort of put things into perspective. And I wouldn't mind, maybe when Alex can get around in a few minutes, I'll pick his ear on SegWit and the significant fundamental event around Litecoin. But let's take a look at Bitcoin first. And actually, I've been putting this this chart out on Twitter and stuff, and been talking with my community recently. I really find this a really interesting sort of little roadmap here. It's a weekly price chart. You can create this on Coinigy nice and easily. You know, a few things that I think the viewers should just sort of appreciate, and you know, anybody that watched these shows through the late winter and the early spring with Dash. You remember when Dash did its Amanda's penthouse? Remember that stuff, Will?
Yep.
Yeah, we did like 4x on Dash. Well, you can sort of see the exact same thing. Bitcoin's done the same sort of movement that Dash did. Originally, that's sort of that original, and we, on Dash, it hit 400% and stopped. And I see that Bitcoin, you can see here, it hit 400% of this range and stopped. So if this is that kind of similar scenario, I've thrown on a similar study, and I've just replicated 200%, 300%, 400%, just to sort of give us an idea if the past repeats itself in price behavior. If we were looking at this on a scale basis, what would those moves kind of look like? Do you also remember, I don't know whether I showed it too much here, but I did a really cool study of triangles and the Gann spiral. Did you guys ever see that?
Yep. Yeah, you shared that here a while ago.
Yeah, and it turns out that this triangle here projected this objective. And if we actually go back and price down through these consolidations, the triangle down here projected this objective. So what's really interesting is if you do that same triangle study, and anybody who's watching this, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my address is @CRInvestor. This is me here. So I put out these kind of tweets, and you should be able to follow and find, if I can do this, there we go. If you just Google or Twitter search whatever fibs spiral. In fact, one of our I don't know whether, I think he did a show, I can't remember whether he did a show with us or not. I can't remember whether it was Gambler or DJ Thistle. But he saw my Gann spiral chart, and he's like, you're doing spirals now. I don't want to follow you anymore, which I thought was so funny. Spirals are really tricky to sort of figure out how to do correctly. But if you go back, I actually did up a really nice little Twitter. Just Google or search spiral. I won't go into too much here. I just wanted to mention that. Sorry, I got off topic there. The point that I'm trying to make out all this, is that it also projected up into this $4,000 area. So on balance, by the time we finish this move, could we see some sort of insane spike up into this $4,000 or $5,000 area? I think so. And also too, if we go back and look at like the gold chart from the last fear cycle, I think that there's a lot of similarities between Bitcoin and this fear cycle, and sort of the preference to hide your money. In 1980, the best place to hide it was in gold. I don't think the market believes that in gold today, but I actually do believe that the market believes it to a certain degree in Bitcoin.
I could see that.
And if that's the case, then basically go look at your gold chart. It did almost the same thing into its 1980 peak. The issue we have to understand is we are coming to the very end of a very long-term fear cycle. It's a 16 and well, actually I guess we're 17 years into an 18-year fear cycle, which is basically commodity friendly. And at the very end of these cycles, whatever's the hottest, it's going to be hot, right? And like I said, last fear cycle ended 1980. Gold was hot then, and woohoo, did it ever go crazy. So could we see some sort of insane blow off top here over the next year or two? Absolutely. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. How do we define a bull market? You define a bull market by higher highs and higher lows. What I see here is higher highs and higher lows. I think, in my school programs, I teach extension levels as target windows. And I actually like to use this a lot in our teaching, where we call this the parking garage.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about the way price moves, price, ironically enough, moves in ranges. And if you think that this is a range, then in essence, an expression of this range would just simply be price moving up into this window. So really seeing this actually is not really a big surprise. This is what's supposed to happen. The interesting thing here, of course, is that, if we just play a simple connect the dots, we did have one disconnect through here. So I don't know how relevant this line is. I might be a little bit off here, but I just eyeballed this about a week or two ago. And I was shocked that when I drew this arc off of all of these lows, And then I just replicated it, and I sort of played connect the dots off of this high and a couple of these highs, how it sort of expressed price in this sort of arc. And I've been sort of using that as sort of my benchmark. And it was interesting how last week we came up and kissed the top of the arc and then had to back off into the end of the week. And I had actually put a tweet out saying that, you know, honestly, this is our range between the top of the arc and the bottom of the arc. You can see how we're pressing up here above the arc. So that tells me that, hey, you know, price is kind of vulnerable. We could back off here very easily. And then I go and look. Will, do you know what this number is in mathematics? 1.618.
Is it the golden ratio per chance?
Yeah, it's actually a really, really important number to mathematicians. And of course, you know, on the downside corrections, we like to watch 0.618, right? So the point of the matter here is we often see price hit this 1.618 and smack off it. It happens a lot. And I think we actually kind of saw that this morning. If you'll indulge me, I'm just going to pop over to a TradingView chart just for a moment. Where do I have it? I follow every term in the school program. I highlight a trade setup and try and demonstrate how students can follow a trading plan. And this particular term, Julian's my partner, and you remember Julian did these shows for a while with us. He really loves trend lines for trade location. So we simply built a trading plan saying we're going to hunt trend line tags. And on those trend line tags, and you know, here, 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 right here, all of these areas represent potential trade location, where if we see a divergence develop on a tag of those lines, then we start going into super stalking mode, 78.6 levels, risk against the high, 2-to-1 risk reward, blah, 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 blah. So I find it fascinating that when we lost, can you see how we broke through this trend line here? We broke through it, and I actually was putting out charts and stuff saying that I have to look for a test of this trend line. I just have to. And it was really cool in daily brief videos that I do on the site. We just watch this chunk, 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 chunk. And a lot of new people to the site are like, fuck me, I can't believe that. That's so cool to watch this stuff play out. So long and short of it here, as we're working up to this potential trade location here, look what's developing in a momentum indicator. Do you see how we're making higher highs, but the momentum indicator is making lower highs? Uh-oh. We ideally want to wait for this to become confirmed divergence. In my opinion right now, this is what we call potential divergence. In fact, I think maybe we even did a Coinigy tutorial on MACD once way back.
Yeah, we did. Way back in the day. That's on our channel.
MACD tutorial on divergences. Julian really likes RSI. So this trading plan we built, we're going to use RSI. It doesn't really matter. Momentum indicators are all basically the same. So long and short of it here is we're fast approaching a very interesting trade location. We have this 15th coming up here. This is a funny date, 15th. There's some weird stuff around this date. There's like an SEC event around this date, but I don't know whether it's actually going to happen or not. Anything significant is going to happen on that date.
It's the appeal for the Winklevoss ETF, right? Like they're trying to get like the SEC to reevaluate it. So I guess that's like the next deadline is the 15th. So who knows? Maybe it'll pass then.
Correctly, they're accepting comments, or they're accepting applications, or they're accepting appeals or something up to that date. I don't think anything actually specifically happens on that date, but I have heard a lot of people talking about it. So it might become one of these sort of self-fulfilling prophecies. The date comes, nothing happens, and price fucking tanks. I don't know. But the point of the matter here is I find it really interesting that we're coming up to a potential trade location, and you can see the divergences building. They're not confirmed yet, so we just got to wait for it, but I'm getting very antsy to start hunting short setups. And of course, 38.2, we call that our first stop target. If we topped here and this was it, I would definitely be looking for sort of 1545 on stamp area, and you can see that would just simply be a move against all of these old lows. Wicks and tails like to be eaten, right? 50% levels, probably right down in this area against this tail. That's sort of where I'd be looking for support on stamp. And now here's the really cool thing. Check this out. If this is the top, 1.618, whatever, it might be another few bucks higher here. I don't know for certain. But I definitely am not going to be buying Bitcoins here, that's for sure. But the point here is, look what happens when we draw a reload zone off of the most recent significant pivot low.
You're at what, about 1,000 there?
High here, right? Look where the reload zone lines up. And what I find is really cool is that reload zone is going to line up nicely with the tag of that arc. And if we did a reload zone off of this range, that's what that was. If we do a reload zone off of that range, that's what that was. I mean, it's ridiculous. Do you see it? If we do a reload zone off of that range, that's what that was. Isn't that sick?
Well, this current pattern that we're drawing doesn't look sustainable, but it doesn't look like it's running out at the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to comment on that too. I mean, you know, just even being part of Coinigy, I mean, we've been seeing so many new users, and kind of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has definitely been going a lot more mainstream than it has in the past. So, you know, I think a lot of that is feeding that, and I think you should give your standard warning, Brian, to those folks who may be new about buying at the top and such.
Well, yeah, but be careful here, right? This is, but you know, especially veteran watchers of this show, right? Do we buy up markets? Have you ever seen me buy an up market? Ever?
Not to my knowledge.
If I'm going to be buying, I'm going to be buying when people are crying, right? And if we get a nice W, fucking A, man, let's go. You know, by definition, I'm not allowed to be a buyer up here. That's the sad part about it. And this little tool that you see on the chart right here, this is what we call our reload zone. And actually, I had conjectured, and that's what this is. I actually kind of think, guys, that we're going to be doing something like this.
So, Brian, when I was at this conference on Monday, I was hearing just so many, like, lots of optimism, and I was scared.
Well, that's just it, right? And as I said, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Will, but I think it's really important. We have to understand seasonality, right? Especially people, like, we've been doing this now for a couple of years, right? I mean, we've been at this a while. Hopefully, you guys have seen the seasonality. Right. So, you know, in the stock market, all the professionals, how does the cliche go?
Sell in May and walk away.
Yeah. So are they selling at a loss?
Generally, no.
Right. They're probably selling at a profit, which means prices are up. Right. So
yeah, and that's my worry is it's gonna take 1,800, and all these folks are just gonna get out of the market. And we're gonna have a lot of people in tears.
Do you guys remember that November auction? I mean, look how far back that is now. It's ridiculous. That November government auction, and you remember, like, we actually did like fibs off of this range, and that was a perfect mountain man tag and all that shit, right? But the point that I would just make is I don't think Bitcoin can actually end a move without some sort of horrendous face rip up. Maybe this is it. But I kind of think that the top is going to be some sort of, and it's probably going to leave a wick like it did here, right? Where there's going to be some sort of blow off top. And then everybody's going to go, okay, the top's in, right? And that's, you know, I don't think it's a good idea for anybody to call tops here. You remember what happened to that poor guy who called a top on Dash, right? He just got fucking run over. You remember that? It was pretty. It was a thing maybe a couple months ago. I don't think it's a good idea for anybody, and you know, there will be guys on Twitter and stuff like that that are going to be like, oh yeah, I called the top. I was perfect. I called the top. But really, guys, on balance, especially for like most of the people that are watching this show, what we really want to do as investors is we don't necessarily need to call this bottom here. What we really want to do is we want to try and capture this middle part. And my advice is don't be in too big of a hurry to call the end of the Bitcoin bull. And what I've been telling people, and my message is, pullbacks are buying opportunities. That's the way I look at Bitcoin right now. So, anyway, I just thought I'd give you my 2 cents. I think we are overextended. I think if we look at the lower time frame charts, I think there are short setups that are starting to develop. You can see 200% extensions. Here's another thing that I really wanted to mention that I think is really important. And this is what's called volume profile on the right-hand side of my screen here. And quite literally, you can see that not many buyers have actually come in and bought up top here. And if we go back and we look at Bitcoin's price chart from back in 2013, the face rip rally, same thing. The profile looked very, very thin. And what it really said was that price at some point had to come back to value. So, you know, just off of this range alone, you can see where value is. And that's sitting right now at about $1,200. And you can see that I've even written here love buy setups off this level. The profile here has some unfinished business right at that level. And you notice here comes the 200 SMA, right? Some juicy tails that could be eaten in here, look awfully vulnerable. And so if I'm, you know, counseling people where to start thinking about buying Bitcoins, I'm going to start like here. Okay, guys? Hopefully the audience can see that. Now, one more thing before we go on Bitcoin, because there's one more really important thing I want to talk about here. This market is actually starting to give us little signs that it's topping out. How? Well, have you guys ever heard the expression volume leads price?
Yes, sir.
If we look at this, the green bars, they literally represent the power or the sort of intensity of the bull. And do you guys notice that as we're making higher highs here in price, the intensity of the bull is waning here? So we're actually already starting to see the very first signs that the bull is getting tired. You'll know that the Bitcoin bull is rip-roaring and strong if we blast off through these highs here. For now, if anything, I'd just say, you know what, there are anecdotal evidence, pieces of evidence building that this thing's starting to get tired. Okay, I'm done.
Good stuff. Should we talk about some LTC and some SegWit action?
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Alex, are you around?
Yeah, I don't know, Alex, can you talk to us? Can you sort of fill us in on the SegWit? What's happened? What is its implications?
So Litecoin just finished adding SegWit. So now we have like the second largest proof of work network has implemented like the new code that was meant for Bitcoin. And basically that's a huge proof of concept. Like it's validating SegWit as like functional and production ready, you know, because these are not small networks. Where Litecoin has always been a very major player and the code base is very sound. So it's definitely capable of like, I guess, proving out the code base very well. So if you look on Charlie Lee's Twitter feed, the creator of Litecoin, you'll see the first SegWit transaction, and yeah, they're able to actually you know, push the block size and, you know, prove that, hey, we can actually do more than the block limit transactions now because we're using SegWit. So that's a huge step forward in scaling without making anyone upgrade. Like anyone who uses new like wallet, far more transactions and far more functionality, and the people still using the old one are completely compatible. Like whereas the Bitcoin Unlimited thing is it's a forced upgrade. Everyone who wants to continue using Bitcoin has to download their software, which is pretty terrible.
Hard fork.
So, yeah.
So this is actually Charlie Lee. This is the guy who created Litecoin?
Yeah.
Yeah, Satoshi Light.
And kind of just for some background, Brian, kind of initially, I mean, at least I've kind of heard, I've never met Charlie Lee, but I've heard that he's, you know, back in the day, really, he just kind of copied the Bitcoin source code and changed it a little bit. And then Litecoin was created. It wasn't a you know, a years-long process or anything like that. But he now actually works for Coinbase. So he's throwing his input there, and kind of coincidentally, Coinbase just added Litecoin wallets.
No conflict of interest there?
Yeah,
A little
maybe.
bit, maybe. Yeah, I
No.
guess I didn't really think of it that
There's
way.
no there's no pre-mine and there's no ICO. So I mean, like Charlie effectively doesn't own the Litecoin network. He was just, the creator. He definitely has an invested interest. I'm sure he owns a lot of Litecoin, but at the same point, like,
would it be like the same relationship you have with Ubic?
yeah, exactly. We created the software, but we can't force people to upgrade.
Would you be officially called a dev? Is that what you are? Are you a dev?
I'm the community manager. I do not do any deving. I like to keep my sanity.
Okay. Stupid question. Remember, I'm an old
I
guy.
can vouch for that being a dev.
So
Get a
I
little-
speak dev, and that's why they have me around. I talk to the normal people, and then the devs can be deving. And I'm the one who pushes, pizza into the pit for the hackathon.
Okay.
But
I thought it was
the
really interesting. I put out a tweet recently. Somebody was scolding people for waiting so long to get Bitcoin transactions that they were like, "Why don't you just use Litecoin?" Did you see that? That the Oriental lady smacks the white
Charlie
guy
would
across the
love
face.
that.
Charlie's very much a troll on Twitter, and he's hilarious. I actually, I do love following his feed, and when he likes a project, like he really likes Decred. He did like a really subtle tweet where every first letter of the line was like said by Decred.
Okay, so he's very witty that way.
Oh, he's very witty. But the main reason like Litecoin was created,
Decred it's basically coming right back down to the bottom.
yeah, it probably needs a healthy retrace. I mean, there's people buying in, people want to be part of the governance structure. But the main reason like Litecoin was created back in the day was Bitcoin, I think, was going to GPU mining. So like people were initially mining with just CPUs, and all of a sudden there was like a massive boost in efficiency when people started using these new processors. And maybe they even went to ASICs, like, there were specific hardware, and now you had to buy this hardware to be competitive. But then like Charlie Lee comes along and is like, well, this sucks. I really like mining with all my computers and stuff. So he's like created a new hashing algorithm, slightly more efficient, made the block time faster. And yeah, a lot of altcoins today are actually script. There's probably more script altcoins than there are Bitcoin altcoins.
So I thought it was adorable. I put out recently that when we actually first started this show, Rob admitted that he had bought some Litecoin at $30. So I was really proud of him. He was able to get off the couch, as we always say, that people that buy the top usually get trapped on the couch, sleeping on the couch. So I thought that was good for him. And actually, we at TRI, a bunch of our people, and including myself, we made some good money on this trade. What do you think? I mean, would you be?
I know Rob's happy.
Would you be inclined to endorse Litecoin? Because remember, for a long time, Litecoin was really on the outs. Are you allowed to? Now that you're hooked up with Ubic, are you allowed to actually say, yeah, I like that, or I don't like that?
I don't know. Like it's when I look at Ubic, the company, which is the company that I'm like CEO of, we're like a Bitcoin company. Like if BitPay announces like they have some new feature or something, is it a conflict of interest if they buy Bitcoin before implementing it? Or announcing it, maybe, I don't know, but they don't own the underlying network. Like if they own a gold mine, like maybe this is a better question, like Brian, if someone owns a gold mine and they, figured out like a huge new deposit, if they dumped all their gold before, announcing that they found this huge new deposit, is that a conflict of interest? Is that insider trading?
If they dumped all their gold?
Well, I don't know, made a trade that was profitable because they had news about the underlying asset. Meanwhile, they don't have control of the underlying asset. They just, have news about it.
Yeah, man, I guess not. Yeah, no, I guess and maybe this is comparing apples and oranges. Like as a trader dude, right? I look at every single one of these coins exactly the same, right? And you as an insider, the developer inside the industry, you're like, Brian, they're apples and oranges. Some are good and some are pieces of crap. And so, hey, look at that? Got a little message that way.
Yeah, that's what I was whipping up in the background there.
Thank you.
Figured it's about time we did something like that.
So I'm just curious, like where does Litecoin sit in this sort of, is it in the Ethereum class? Is it in the Bitcoin class? Because when I first started in this Bitcoin adventure, it was Bitcoin then Litecoin. Right? Remember that a few years ago, right? Where does it sit now in this universe?
It's still a rock. That's what everyone calls, like, it's like everybody's favorite rock, because everyone thinks like, it doesn't really have a whole lot of functionality besides Bitcoin functionality. So why is it useful? And you know what? It's actually a very useful test net for Bitcoin. Like,
there you go. Yeah, I mean, it just proved its usefulness today, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it took a couple years, but yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on it too. Is especially with so many new folks coming into the ecosystem, I think it has value now. I mean, because what is the first thing you're going to look at when you're completely green to this space? You trade a little bit of Bitcoin, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm ready to get into something else. I mean, Litecoin is on every single exchange. It's been around for years. There's historical patterns to look at. It doesn't have anything, well, until really now, too controversial about it. Although I wouldn't dare say, SegWit is controversial. But I mean, I think it's going to be the first kind of offload for your typical newbie who's like, okay, I want to dip my toes in alt, but I don't know anything about this weird Ethereum stuff and all these other side chains and color coins and stuff.
It was like a year or so ago, it was Bitcoin and then Ethereum, right? And Litecoin wasn't even in the conversation anymore. So I just find it fascinating, and I just like to get your guys' input. Right?
It was one of the first 4 coins that I bought. Like within 10 minutes of buying Bitcoin, I had bought in Litecoin, MadeSafe, and Dark, and Litecoin was my only loss. I bought it for like $12, and then it got down to like $3, and I sold. I'm just like, screw this.
Oh, yeah. Man, I remember when there was all the hype that people were spreading rumors that Litecoin was going to get added to Mt. Gox. And everybody was going crazy about that for a while.
It had a nice halving pump.
What's that?
It had a nice halving pump too, though. Like it had its its day. It's 15 minutes.
Well, that's what this was, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
sure.
Remember
the guy in China that did a Ponzi scheme through this, right?
Yep.
All right, technically speaking, can we buy this here as a trading vehicle? No, you can't. You've missed the boat. And if anything, I think this is the fundamental event day, right? Because that's when he put out the SegWit tweet, right? So we're actually into a new day here. I suppose, the worst part about this, and like I said, we talked about Decred earlier. Decred sort of did the same sort of thing. And we talked about Dash a while ago, same sort of thing. My expectation is it's going to be Chop Vegas here for a while on this thing. This candle is now printed, right? So that now has become an official. Remember, we were talking about bullish and bearish impetus. It looks to me like the bears just woke up here. That's not good for the bulls. You notice here, the market actually started to break out from this high level right in here, right, when all this volume came in and busted to new highs. So to actually believe that the bull is still very much alive and at the wheel is you now need to see green bars bigger than these ones here. That's going to take a bit of buying. My hunch is, volume-wise, because we were talking about that earlier, is it just sort of cascades and then eventually we bottom and start working our way back up again.
I'm just happy my Doge pumped. it was along for the ride.
Doge up?
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for Doge for a while. I thought it was going to be integration with Ethereum that made it pump, but I guess Litecoin pumping, because every Litecoin miner is also mining Doge.
Oh, that's
interesting.
I know that a couple of the guys that we watch on Twitter, they were really gung ho on Doge. Hats off to you guys. Way to go.
I'm curious now, actually, what the functionality will be between Doge and Litecoin if they both have SegWit. That will be a really good test net, actually. That would be really good for testing functionality to have like a decentralized exchange built with Doge and Litecoin because they're both very compatible.
if I wanted to think about being a buyer on low, unfortunately, I really don't like the look of this bottom. I mean, I would have really preferred to see like a nice wide base. You know, that's what we really want to see. I've seen a lot of these coins when they go straight down like this and straight up, they have to actually end up coming right back down to the bottom. Where can I start hunting reasons to consider buying? Of course, here's our good old reload zone. That's going to be against all of these lows. So maybe if we're lucky, we get some nice divergences that develop and a nice, you know, W that comes in to frame another trade. But that's going to be down the road, guys. It's not going to be for a while. So if you are a Litecoin person and you're interested, it just has to be on your shopping list. Set your alerts for this sort of, you know, what's that, 0.007 up to 0.01. We get down into that area, then you can start sort of paying attention. The thing that bothers me about this chart specifically is, can you see that if we zoom in very closely, we've got some holes on the chart here. There's a hole right there, and there's a hole right there. So unfortunately, what that means to me is that, you know, we might have some crazy ass spike. Really, these holes aren't considered filled in. They're called gaps, but they're not considered filled in until we actually see a candle body come in and close that. And actually, we saw that recently on IOC. It had a couple really nasty gaps that needed to be filled in, and this polo bullshit was the excuse for the market to go fill those gaps in.
Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
can I interrupt you and ask a quick question about the gaps?
Sure.
So, you know, in traditional stocks, you know, you don't have 24-hour trading. So when you have like a daily chart up, that gap represents basically, you know, the close of the market the prior day and then the open the next day.
Right.
Versus in crypto, you have, you know, 24/7 trading, and
Yeah,
that's
it's literally. Remember, we were just talking.
I'm
about
just wondering if that plays, you know, plays into it, or if it affects the gaps in any way, or.
But remember, we just talked a moment ago. We said that this candle just closed like this. This new candle just started like literally like 2 hours ago, right? So in a 24/7 market, the daily bars, the candles just go like, and it's cool on the exchange floor, like the CME. They've got like buzzers that go off every 15 minutes.
Oh,
So
that's
on the
awesome.
top of the hour, if you're watching an hourly chart or something like that, it'll go. You'll just hear in the background beep, and then all the charts flip over to the next bar. It's so freaky. And then, you know, when the ag markets are open, right, you always hear these, because it's every 15-minute bar. The traders want to be warned that they do 15-minute bars. But that's in the hog pits. Those guys are crazy. But anyway, the point that I'm to answer your question, Will, is, and we're looking at a candlestick chart here. So gaps on candlestick charts are a little bit different than gaps on bar charts. Okay. What this gap represents, right, is literally this was the end of this daily session. The next bloody tick was boom, there. You know, when the buzzer goes off, beep, charts move over. The next tick, the next trade was right there. So that is what's actually unaddressed here, is that the market finished at one level and then instantly jumped up to another level. There was a hole there. Now, you can see in this particular candle, price came back down and traded into that gap, but it never stayed there. And so for candlestick aficionados, these tails are very important. In essence, this represents unfinished business. And, you know, have you ever heard me talk about trapped bulls and trapped bears? If price can come down into this area, the guys that actually shorted here and caused this little tail here, they're trapped right now. And they want to get released, right? They want to get off the couch. You know, remember Rob and his $30 Litecoin, right?
Yep.
And by price coming down into that level, that gives them the opportunity to get released. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So in essence, what ends up happening is there's a huge pocket of motivated. These guys are short right now, or maybe they sold it and the price went up and they're like, oh, fuck, that was a stupid thing to do. I better try and buy it back, right? There's a bunch of motivated people right down in this gap. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah, I understand now. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so the point
We
of the
have
matter
the-
here is if we look at these levels and then zoom out, where can I start thinking? I can start hunting reasons to buy here, but I got a nasty feeling we're going to go right back down to the belows here. That's my technical 2 cents.
We had some gaps drawn on the UBIC chart, and immediately I'm just like,
fill those damn gaps. Fill them now.
yeah, I know where I'm placing my buys because we're gonna come back there. Like, we're gonna have some Bitcoin craziness or something's gonna go on that's gonna have a pullback in the market. So I was seeing gaps on every chart in the same sort of patterns.
So that's like totally Jesse, right? I thought that tweet was so funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
He's like, did you see that? He was like, I want some fun. I want some fun. I want a line in the sand, Phil. I thought that was hilarious. You know, you've been accepted when Jesse starts using your expressions. So yeah, looking at UBIC, Jesse, and interesting. Look at where Jesse wants to buy. I thought that was so. Basically, all that is just buying the original breakout. See that? I don't see any gaps though. I was actually really impressed with the way you guys ran your book through here. This is really clean. Notice how, we started leaving some
I saw
gaps.
those. I'm like, I'm buying there. I'm putting my support down, like whatever I can. But there's a lot of good outs also out there right now, and like I got quite a few bounces filled because Bitcoin shakes a lot of people out. Everyone's always chasing the pump, so you kind of got to do the opposite, right?
And actually, that's one thing I wanted to tout about our site is we have this fucking awesome chat room. And every day, let's see if I can expand it here. Every day I get the opportunity to come in. And this is this 1 + 1 = 3. This guy here, James, whoops, isn't that interesting? This guy, Jamie here, was actually just a past level 1 student. Fucking smart ass guy. And he was in 1 + 1 = 3. Look at this fucking little excuse my French. When an idea gets hot, I get all excited. But look at this beautiful chart, and he basically we do our daily brief, and he's like, hey guys, take a look at SLR. It was down in this area. Look at that chart. This is everything that I teach. It's just so beautiful. You're a little late. Don't go and ramp this thing up here. This is a horrible trade location. If you want to join us, work your bids against the tails, do reload zones, yada, yada, yada. But what a beautiful chart, right? And this is, you're absolutely right, Alex. There's lots of stuff that looks really, really interesting out there.
That's like a large term triple W right there.
Yeah, well, what I really love, and this is where this stuff that I use really shines, is if you can get a situation where you have market structure established, then buying off of the line in the sand is just, it's almost like a gift. Because, don't get into the habit of chasing. Just work your orders, be nice and patient, and let the market structure, let the guys who built this bottom, let them defend the trade. This is the fucking shit. I mean, seriously, viewers, all kidding aside, print that screen off. This is what a chart has to look like if I want to buy something. It's just as simple as that.
Right on. Should we get into some?
All right, yeah, let's go look at some ideas that the viewers want to take a look at.
All right, here, let me spin this wheel.
Isn't that a cool chart, though? Damn, that's a pretty chart.
Yeah, I see a lot of so Bitcoin's doing kind of like a sawtooth right now. A lot of these alts are kind of sawtoothing in the opposite direction. They're all kind of trending up. It's just like they're going back and forth. And I have this coin. This is a folding coin.
Folding coin, nice.
I wanted to get into that damn thing, and I can't.
I don't think we've really talked about this one on the show. I'm kind of excited for it.
I went to the website and I tried to figure out the technology here. I can't figure it out.
So it's basically it's a Google Chrome extension, and you run it while you run the software from Folding at Home, which is kind of like a nonprofit, and these guys are just kind of incentivizing it by offering a currency. But people are buying it. I don't know if it's gonna be part of like some network of different projects, because there are a lot of nonprofit networks that you can quote unquote mine for. And yeah, Folding Coin is one of the cooler ones. Really good user experience, really cool team, and you know, they got some talent. Like their stuff works really well. There's some notable YouTubers that are kind of pumping it. No, but they're definitely like telling people about it and like, hey, you should try this out. And while you're doing it, make sure you run the software because you'll get coins like Bitcoin that are worth money.
I mean, it's a natural progression for cryptocurrency. That's like the ultimate right there. It's instant gratification for contributing to the greater good, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and mining
I still have yet to have anybody explain to me how the folding of proteins translates into, like, I just don't get it. And maybe somebody needs to create a video. You know, this is the folding of proteins and how you can monetize this. I don't get how the two are connected. I still haven't figured that out.
It's just kind of like work, like, and people can fold proteins. Apparently, someone turned it into like a game on an iPhone or something, and some lady was like really good at it. She's like one of the top folders. So it's kind of like you can guess random numbers, but at the same time there are patterns that form, and people can find strategic advantages. But it's eventually, I think AIs are going to be on it. There's going to be some machine learning. So it's kind of cool that I think this is probably incentivizing the market, because it is one of those things that people need to do. It's the same, we actually had a UBIC project kind of get announced today, well, unofficially, but it's solving captcha codes is the same sort of work, you know, identifying a dog or a street sign, or, you know, you're doing something that a machine can't quite do. And it's considered work, and we're looking to incentivize it because there's people who want to have a lot of photos classified. You know, this photo has a dog in it, and then you can go one step over. Yes, it has gold hair, and then one more, it's like it has long gold hair. So those are all things that people need to do, and when they classify that data and like identify those patterns, they can punch that into like machine learning, into artificial intelligence, and it creates, you know, really smart systems, because they have a lot of good data to teach it.
Oh, I'm too stupid. I'll never figure it out.
But on the other end of the spectrum,
anyway, long and short of it here, Alex, you fundamentally like the story, so that's the, you know, pretty big endorsement to our audience, right? If Alex ever says that a fun story here is fundamentally sound, I think that's it's probably worth us paying attention.
There's a Blocktalk on it too if you want to learn more.
Oh, cool! There is. Grab the link. Maybe throw that in this presentation as a sort of a teaser.
Do that.
You know, technically speaking, you know, I suppose after a while, you guys can probably start to finish my sentences here. This is sort of, you know, the same sort of logic as always. We can't really consider, you know, don't, for heaven's sakes, don't chase up here. You can consider purchases as it comes down into this area. This is kind of like that Litecoin chart where, you know, maybe it might be bottoming in here, but oh, we got to go right back down to the into the lows. You know, maybe if we zoomed in here, we might even see some gaps in here as well. But long and short of it here, really, and you can see hindsight 2020, buys anywhere in this area, we're, you know, at least we're walking into a trap. That's it. That's the big thing. You know, we got to try and just convey to the public is, you know, just like Bitcoin's face ripping straight up, try not to get into the habit of buying markets that are just face ripping up. Put them on your shopping list and just say, okay, well, Brian's got this crazy idea, 61.8 to 78.6. All right, I'll just do that. It's on your shopping list. Set your alarms on your phones, computers, emails, whatever. You know, it's so cute. Coinigy alerts, they're so polite. They go ding, ding. And they get this nice little email and everything, so they're very workable. You know, if anything, what I see here, guys, this is a great testament where if we actually, you know, especially for investors who are watching this, and, you know, you've got a career and you got kids, you got, you know, soccer practice, whatever. Can you see the nice simple W's on the weekly price charts? Down, up, down, breakout. See how simple it is when you can zoom out to a weekly? And then, you know, oh, frig, I missed the move. Oh, I totally wanted to buy. Well, just draw your reload zones and wait, here comes the W.
And there you go.
Up, down, breakout, right? cute little W in there you could have participated in, or you could have waited for this one. See how simple that is? And hopefully audience, you do too. The first thing that I have all my students do when they come into the level 1 program, and fuck, we got like 50 of them this term. It's going to be nuts.
That's awesome.
You guys are going to hear this.
Congrats.
The easy, you want to keep this nice and easy, just go find weekly W's. It's just that simple, guys. So, weekly W, can we be a buyer here? Right, you probably can answer that question for me here. Did we lose Alex? Looks like he's frozen.
No. Sorry, texting.
I think he was nodding off. Busted. So,
if I wanted to be a buyer here, where can I start shopping? What do you think the odds are that the reload zone is going to line up off of that market structure level? Remember we just talked about tails.
Probably
right
pretty good.
Good
odds.
These guys are trapped bears right there. They want to be released, right? So if we do our little zoopity zoop, look at that, eh? Isn't that ridiculous? So the point here is, again, I can't buy it right now. It might go higher, and if it does, you got to have the professional discipline just to adjust your fibs and wait for it to come into the buying window. If this is the top, and I don't know if it is or not, I can consider if it can come back down in here and start putting in weekly W's. That's simple. As for traders, I thought it was interesting when I saw this. Do you guys see there was a nice juicy gap here that needed to be filled in? That was probably the objective on this rally right here. With the candle body actually coming in here, that's been filled in. Do you guys see this nasty little wick right up in here? That's a lot of this action that you see here. Your last sort of big objective, you see these candle body peaks up here. There's the close and there's the open, which is interesting. They're so far apart. But that probably creates a little pocket. And then, of course, we've got the trapped bulls up here. So, if we do reload zones and stuff like that, I could actually understand guys who are thinking about shorting markets getting very interested up in this area up here. That wouldn't surprise me. So, this big smack up here, I'm sure some guy looked at this and went, fuck, I'm going to totally hit that. And if anything, what I love about these, until we see this top taken out, what we really have here is Brian's good old cat ping pong gifs. I don't know if you've ever seen those gifs. Did we just lose that? Oh, there it is there. So probably I'm thinking trading range somewhere, boing, 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 boing kind of idea until it's ready to go the next leg. So that's my 2 cents there.
Good deal.
You guys want another wheel?
Yep, wheel it up.
All right, let me share the screen.
And as I said before, I totally want to own this thing. I'm working my bids at my levels, and it's not cooperating. I'm not getting any fills. It pisses me off.
And I want to spin this wheel.
Because I want to own this thing, and I've got my bids. You know where my bids are working.
Right around it goes.
Shut up, Ryan.
Oh, I didn't. Alex, Alex was already on the wheel.
I just want to make sure people don't think I'm spinning the wheel until I get something I want, and I'm spinning right now. And looks like we have Counterparty, and this is really interesting. These guys really need SegWit to happen because they're losing a major customer right now, which is storage. Storage is moving to Ethereum network. And,
are they now? Interesting.
They're no longer going to be developing, like micropayment stuff for Bitcoin anymore. They're like, you know what? We're tired of dealing with the technical difficulties and a team and an environment that doesn't allow for innovation. So we're going to go to Ethereum. They're way more supportive. They're welcoming us with open arms. And yeah, so XCP.
Is Storage doing another ICO? I saw they're raising funds somehow again, or they recently have.
So they're doing another ICO because why not? The money.
Yeah, I guess so.
Money and yeah, no, it's a funny thing because they had a massive pre-mine, and part of that reason for a pre-mine was for them to develop micropayments. But now I think they're just like, well, let's just sell it.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, to a certain extent, you need a certain amount of, funding to do stuff, but how much do you really need to accomplish the project, I guess, is the question. I'm not saying they don't need all the millions, but
and now
at some point you're kind of like, I wonder.
Now there's no longer, just ICOs anymore. There's two COs or a second round, so two COs.
Yeah, that's basically. I mean, they're on like a 3 CO now, right? Technically, didn't they kind of do the initial one and then another, and then SJCX came along later on? Or am I wrong?
They did like Bank in the Future or something.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So they did like a traditional.
I think that's what it was initially. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Brian, can you tell us what you see on the XCP chart? I'm kind of interested to hear your thoughts.
Well, why don't we start big picture? Has this not been around that long?
What a
counterparty
exchange Pi Polo. There.
Wow, that's a different.
It's a fairly old coin.
Check out BTER once. That might not even be counterparty. That might be some old.
Well, maybe that could be the same.
Polo's probably the best. Yeah.
Right, that's the symbol.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if I look at a Polo, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are questioning, Polo these days, but you can see the WE type action here. So I suppose, and probably the bid up here was probably on the SegWit event, Alex. Do you think that that's probably a high correlation?
Yeah, maybe just altcoins in general, but yeah, they definitely had some bad news as they're working out.
Yeah. So,
the storage thing is a big deal, definitely.
Yeah.
Is there like a bazillion coins out?
Well, so the interesting thing about Counterparty, how it was generated, was people actually burned Bitcoin. So it's got a underlying fundamental value of whatever Bitcoin was put in, which I don't know the specs on it, but it's essentially people put their Bitcoin in and we're giving colored Bitcoin back that they can then turn into any coin. So mostly what it's used for today is rare Pepes. Yeah, and and trading cards.
There's some intrinsic value to these coins. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, it's basically colored Bitcoin. It operates on the Bitcoin network, and that's part of the problem right now.
And it's like the first smart contract platform, technically, right?
Yeah, I don't think they have it functioning just yet, but it does allow you to create your own token, and it operates on the Bitcoin network. So it's kind of like the first asset network where you don't need to. You can make a token on Bitcoin, and you don't have to pay for the infrastructure costs. You're just paying per use. The problem right now is not only are you paying a Bitcoin transaction fee, on top of that, you're paying a bigger fee for this extra data that's attached to it. So like a counterparty transaction costs like $2 or $3.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And can you redeem this for whatever the Bitcoin or the intrinsic value for that? Is it just quite literally like 20 number of Bitcoins outstanding divided by 22,400,000 or whatever? Or
no, the idea is that you can
with the price.
If I say I wanted to create Alex coin, I would buy some counterparty and then I would turn it into Alex coin. And they would be stuck as like Alex coin or whatever parameters I set for it. Because like what rare Pepe or Pepe Cash is, they just said, oh, this counterparty tokens are now Pepe Cash. And then you then turn Pepe Cash into Pepe cards. So it's this really weird system of just like, they're constantly like recoloring the coins, but they can never go backwards. They only can go like further. They can attach more and more information to them.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it's because it's such a small market, a supply that appeals to me. But $22.5 million, there's a bit of money in this thing. Mm-hmm. Technically speaking, it sure looks like this is a bottom end of a trading range. And I suppose, if Litecoin does SegWit, then it seems to me, and if I understand correctly, the only reason why SegWit isn't happening is because the miners are enjoying really fat profits, and they have no incentive to stop that behavior, right?
Yeah, and there's all this pushback from, BU and all the other competing kind of ideas. So
I heard some people even say that BU was just manufactured by the miners to just sort of distract people.
Well, it's because of the ASIC boost. ASIC boost wasn't compatible with SegWit, so it kind of is their marketing scheme to say, hey, don't take SegWit because then all the guys with ASIC boosts can't mine with this extra 20% efficiency because those two concepts are not compatible.
You know, that's the crazy thing about that is, you know, I'll sit on Reddit on my phone before I go to bed at night, and I've been getting pegged with so many BU ads, like all over the place. Like they're spending a lot of money on that right now. Just trying to get the word out.
Technically, the technology has been sort of proven to be flawed. They're still trying to push it, eh?
Well, the funny thing is, once we found out about ASIC boost, it all made sense. And you know what? It actually was a big relief because now it made sense why they were doing it. It wasn't because of some like malicious activity. They were incentivized to do this. Like they're rational actors again. Like we know why they're acting this way because there's a rational reason. The funny thing was the core team, the guys who built SegWit, they said, had we had known about this, we could have built with that in mind. So really, the fact that they were holding their cards close to them and, you know, not telling everyone that they had that 20% advantage on the mining is the reason why they're going to lose that 20%. Is because, or we have to wait for SegWit to run out of time because I think it only lasts till like September, and then they maybe have to push out a new version of SegWit.
Right. And or we have to wait another year.
Yeah, I think it will be, we'll probably just, you know, we'll go forward with this and we'll tell the guys who all buy Bitmain miners to say, screw it. You guys are, you know, clearly trying or being too secretive. You're not, you know, conducive to the space. You're not helping us all out. Like you're just trying to get as much money as possible for yourself. So you know what? Screw you guys. We're gonna, you know, do our own soft fork, or we're gonna, you know, do whatever we can, and that's what's kind of going on right now. Is
hopefully it's the power of moral suasion. Maybe.
Well, we as users should get a vote in the network, right? It shouldn't be just miners. Like,
well, but if I understand correctly, if you actually talk to the users, SegWit should have passed a while ago. It was like heavily endorsed, right?
Exactly.
Well,
just, you know,
I hate to say it, but we've kind of exposed a vulnerability here to in crypto, haven't we? There's anything, you know, and that's basically the purpose of the market, is to really explore all this stuff, right? It sounds to me like we found a little pocket of vulnerability in this crypto story. A little disappointing. Okay, back to our coin here. You know, actually, honestly, from a trading perspective, I don't really have a problem buying this double bottom and risking against these lows. That's sort of like, you know, like a weekly, you know, I always tell my students, find those weekly W's kind of thing. Little old lady kind of idea, and just see where this thing takes you. I mean, frig it, if we wicks and tails like to be eaten, and that's one big honking wick up there. You know, obviously this is probably a bit of polo games, but I think you could actually at 44 right here, 88 would be a double. That would just be nothing more than just revisiting these candle body highs and maybe eating a bit of that wick up there. So believe it or not, actually, I think, you know, getting some free coins out of this isn't really too outlandish. You know, trading, fine tuning, you know what I'm going to say next. Here it comes. Where is our Redo-Dome? And
back in the old area.
Yeah, I mean, should it really surprise us that you know, professional traders are going to be hunting the original structural bottom here, right? So, you know, nice dips down into this area against all of these lows. Maybe even, oh, look at that. See, there's a cheeky little gap right down there. See that? So, you know, if you are interested in this story and you want to really, be a sharpshooter here, I think you probably want to concentrate working your bid. Look at that cute little gap right in there. Oh, and there's also a cute little gap right down there too. So, you know, I might be inclined to work my stink bids against all these lows, see if you can get lucky. Could I be a buyer at today's prices for, you know, trading purposes? Nah, kind of a shitty trade location. But like I said, you know, for investors, higher time frame, You want to just, nibble on something, throw it away. That's not the right word. Nibble on something, put it into your portfolio, just let it work. Orders to sell have on doubles. Come back in 6 months, you might have a nice little treat for you there. The sharpshooters, trader guys, you're going to need to concentrate down against all of these lows.
And it'll be kind of funny. I think the better that storage does, the worse that XCP will do. It'll probably be like, oh, look how well they're doing moving from Bitcoin to Ethereum. Man, all these Bitcoin-related projects must suck. So
it's public perception drives a lot.
Well, and wait, why did you decide on Ethereum and not Bitcoin?
Functionality mainly, but yeah, it's the support network too. Like, there's no such thing really as an Ethereum maximalist. They're all very open-minded. They all want to build cool shit. So it's like, yeah, when they heard about us, they didn't see us as a competitor. They just see us as validation. That they're doing the right thing, and it's more work going on. Like, so I don't know. Like, if you're an app coin, like Ether is, or like storage is. Then maybe go on like an app coin network rather than a finance network like Bitcoin. And there's a lot of counterparty assets that's
actually that's cool how you just said that, right? Because it sounds to me like there are quite literally like different personalities to different types of coins, eh?
Yeah, we're finally to the point where we can classify coins as an app coin network versus purely a financial instrument versus other categories.
That's huge. That's huge in my opinion. Right. That's if anything, that might be like the second or third evolutionary stage here of crypto. That's cool. All right. Okay. So there's my 2 cents. Little old ladies. And really, I don't even like this area, off the daily charts for little old ladies. I think everybody, if you want to take a shot, work your bids, reload zones, hunt for W's, yada, yada, yada.
All right, let's do maybe one more coin here on the wheel.
Yep.
We got a pretty active chat. Lots of people watching the show. Lots of people talking about ASIC boosts. Very great for tuning in, guys. We appreciate the audience participation.
Yes, definitely. This is awesome. Keep it up. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and all that stuff. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Mm-hmm. And we missed storage. I don't know what ETT is, but looks like we're gonna have to talk about Ether. Which right now we heard there's some big news coming at Consensus in New York, which is I think next week or the week after. It's a big conference, and it's all about finance and finance.
Oh, that gives me heartburn.
Oh, well, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like the conference is on Monday in Toronto. I'm like, oh man, there's so much like enthusiasm in the room. This is terrifying. Like 1,200 people and like people watching on YouTube, and everyone's just talking about how amazing crypto is. I'm like, I should sell my coins.
Kidding.
This is what you've done to me, Brian. It's like,
this is, and I mean, first and foremost, can you go out and buy Ethereum here? I think you're literally, you got a coin in your pocket. Alex, you got a Bitcoin in your pocket.
Oh, man.
It's literally a coin toss. And we as traders, we really like to work with concepts called edges. Things that if we've seen them happen in the past, odds are they might happen again in the future. This thing here, clearly, and it was really cool because we had some site members and even one of my alumni, Michael, who came out and just turned super bull down in here. I was so proud of him. Went out publicly and said, fuck, you got to load up on Ethereum here. And of course, hats off to you, Michael, if you're watching this. It's a great call. I suppose, I suppose wicks and tails like to be eaten. How high do we have to go?
Can I put this in relative terms, though? Like, if you bought the Ethereum crowd sale with one Bitcoin, which is about $500, I think it's worth something like 150 grand now.
Oh, wow.
And that's not even counting like having ETC because of the fork. Like you have a lot of very rich people because of Ethereum. Like, and it's very much like I don't know. It's Bitcoin back in the early days. Like, you know, people bought it for pennies. And
was this the ICO price? Did they work the thing right? Because you remember when it came out of the
trading opened, it was 3x off of the lows. I think it was like 25 or 33 cents, and then it bottomed at about $1.
So can you see the little W down here, right? So good old Brian, and I didn't do it on Polo. I'm on BitterX. Maybe a BitterX strip looks a little different. But I loaded up here, and what I seem to remember was that after the ICO, they literally brought the market right back down to the ICO level. But is that correct? 0.002?
That was an ICO. No, it never got to ICO levels when it launched. At least I'm pretty damn sure.
Whatever it's worth, that's where I'm on. And, you know, you guys, you remember that? I don't know whether you remember that time.
I remember you giving me a hard time, Brian, when I quoted you and I said I was buying it. And you're like, oh, you can't just say that. But I was buying it a little early. It definitely went below my buy before going and rocketing up. No, I was watching it from the launch, and yeah, it was good.
I think if anything, what we, viewers, you want information that you can use, right? So we really try to drive home this reload zone concept. And really, guys, this is actually a really, really good example of all this. So, big run up. And what was really interesting was this was right off a beautiful GAN angle. That was beautiful M short there. And if anything, I've often talked to people about this, about deciding trade location. Is it really a good idea if we're heading into one of these green boxes to be hunting shorts? It's actually pretty dangerous. It seemed to work relatively well through here, but of course, oh boy, there's the other side of it. I think, guys, especially viewers, if you're watching this, if you do your fibs, what was really cool about this is, we just do these reload zones front and back. And in essence, as price got up into this area, that was the area that you could consider shorting, right in there. And I think this is really, this is a great, working off of higher time frames. It's a great keep you honest tool. So when we got down into here, and I heard people talking about shorting this, I'm like, is that really such a good idea? At the very least, maybe just temper your bearish enthusiasm and let price get out of here. Frankly, I didn't see this coming. At most, good old Brian and his reload zones, I was looking for a nice rally into here. And if anything, actually, this is really cool. Because what I often find happens, actually, this isn't the best example. But what I often find happens is if we do a reload zone like this and the market breaks out, we often actually have to come back on the other side and revisit that. And this becomes a fantastic consolidation zone on the other side of that. But that's not the case here, so that's irrelevant.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt here. I have a quick update. Rob just informed me that livecoin.net is now available on Coinigy. Figured I'd add that in.
Thank you, Rob.
The exchange code is going to be live. You're going to have to refresh the browser before it shows up.
Okay. I'll
you
do
don't
that
want to lose your
afterwards.
stuff. So,
okay.
yeah.
ETH. Boom. Okay. So what do I see right now? Market is making higher highs, and you could argue that maybe there were bullish bot setups that came in here for those that trade trend continuation. Something like that. So 33, no more than 66. Oh, that's doable. And then we'll clone that. I think if I'm not mistaken, though, this guy ran up, hit the stop to break even level, and then crapped out. Let's take a look here. There we go. Bullish botters. Yeah, that's what happened. You can see the double bottom that's set up here. So if you were like, yeah, I'm a total bull, man. Yeah, there's a bullish bot. Let's trade. Let's go. Let's go. I kind of think that it might have been an idea just to play the market structure breakout on anticipation that this thing would confirm the 25 level. And I don't think that that would have been too outlandish. At the same time, though, do you guys remember ETC was doing a bullish bot ahead of ETH? Do you remember that? On the whole talk about ETC getting an ETF.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so many acronyms. And then what was really weird was as that ETC bot hit its target, then it was funny. You literally saw the ETH guys were like, hey, they're getting a fucking ETF. We want our ETF.
Yep.
And that was this round, right? That's what sparked all this. But then that whole talk just died. It just totally fizzled.
There's some big name ICOs that happened too, like that raised a lot of money, or if not money, ether. If you can call that money.
Oh, interesting. A lot of supply hit the
which
market.
ones are based on Ethereum Classic?
Yeah, there isn't anything on Ethereum Classic at this
That's
point.
what I was wondering.
Ubiq has more functionality or use cases than Ether Classic right now. I don't know what Ether Classic is really doing at the moment. There's 2 companies working on it. I'm trying to interview the one.
Barry Silbert loves it. I know
the
that
only thing
much.
I've heard is a monetary policy and a new client written in Scala. So like rather than having Golang as one language that Vitalik side works on, and then there's Parity, which is a Rust implementation that Gavin Wood is. So like you have the 2 founders of Ethereum, and they're both working on different implementations. Ethereum Classic's like, well, we're going to do our own. But I don't see where the money comes from with that. You know, like it sounds like a lot of money spent on nothing. And it just gets forked over to ETH in the end. So yeah, right now I think from the Ubiq side, I would say our main competitor would be Ethereum Classic, but there's just not enough devs to build everything in the space right now. So we're not really in competition. I mean, I'm just trying to understand what's their value proposition. Why should I buy Ethereum Classic? Is, oh, they're getting an ETF. Like, is that a reason that more the public will be buying in the future? I don't get it.
I don't even understand how they could justify an ETF. It just seemed like a conversation out of left field.
So there's a guy, Barry Silbert, who is a very well-known investor in the space. He funds a lot of notable projects. He never got asked to fund Ethereum Classic or to fund Ethereum. So maybe he kind of feels left out, like, you know what, oh, I'll show them. And it's like, I'm going to take over the Ethereum Classic, and then I'll have my Ethereum. I'll do the ETF for that. So, and there's a lot of notable Bitcoiners, too, that I think are kind of backing it because they like the immutability. So in a lot of ways, it's literally just them trying to screw with the traditional Ethereum. Like, there isn't much more use case than that.
I guess what I noticed was, and this is the bullish bot that I was talking about. Like this whole trade, in my opinion, was on the ETF talk. And as soon as what it did, and this is really cool about the bot, is do you notice how this level, this AB equals CD level, notice how the market blew past it here, and of course, who's buying up here? All right, good old public. And notice how this doji is right off this harmonic level. And this, what letter of the alphabet is that? That's a damn M, right? So what's ironic is, you know, this is actually what we call a PRZ in harmonic circles, a potential reversal zone off of this AB equals CD. And this is the reversal off of the PRZ. So this actually became a huge sell signal right there. Isn't that ironic? So there's a bullish trade that we, you know, touted, and I think a few people on the site took it. I can't remember. I don't think I traded this one, but they were all happy campers, and I found it fascinating that right after that, I had people say, "Okay, well, it's a new bullish bot coming in here," and I was just like, "Whoa, slow down." Does it really make sense? And especially if we look at something like ETC off of this range. Does it make sense that actually, as we got into the original wick here, that if you were a bear, look how that's set up perfectly. See that reload zone there? It's just ridiculous. You guys have heard me talk about candle bodies and peaks right there, right? That right there. See that right there? This was just a monster level. And look at that, eh? So I got the funny feeling that whoever was ramping this up, they were actually ramping it up into a shorting location. It's not awful. So it just seemed odd to me. Why on earth would these guys have an exchange traded fund? Didn't make any sense to me at all. So,
Oh
anyway.
yeah,
I think if
it's
anything, this is a good example of a trader's trade, right? I mean, this was a trade setup. It fired. There was a fundamental story that drove the story. And once you hit this objective, you better have gotten the fuck out of there. And like I said,
maybe
might
it'll be
even
like
argue
Ethereum's. It'll be Ethereum's Litecoin. It will be their testnet.
yeah, probably, eh? Now, if you did want to buy this thing, can everybody see the nice W that did develop down here? And there's the level. And if we do a reload zone off at the top, what do you think the line in the sand probably lines up with that pretty nicely? Hey, let's see what happens. Oh, not bad, eh? You can see there's the old original breakout level. You see that cute little tail right in there. You want to work some cheeky bids. See if you can get some real panic dumpers to come in against these lows and see if you can pick some up in this area down in here. Okay, sorry, we went off topic there. We were originally talking about Ethereum, but we were talking about ETH. And it was such an interesting, compelling trade that I wanted to mention it. All right, so back to ETH. You know, I talked a moment ago about sort of anecdotal evidence, internal signs that there's trouble. I really don't like the fact that they took price to new highs here, but do you see the volume bars? They did not go to new highs. Remember we talked about that earlier? And you can literally feel the bulls are sort of, they're kind of falling to sleep here. That's dangerous, right? Remember we were talking about Bitcoin earlier, and we said, as long as we see higher green bars, that means the bulls are still around. And we're starting to see the bulls sort of disappear a little bit on Bitcoin right now. Well, same sort of thing on Ethereum. And you see the very noticeable M in our OBV indicator. That, my friends, is a very bad sign. I don't like the look of that at all. And you see the M's that are developing in the MACD histogram. And you notice that they took price to new highs here. Pardon me. New highs. That should be green, shouldn't it? But the MACD histogram did not go to new highs. Uh-oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, there's a guy on Twitter, Crypto Cryptics, I think. He posted a really good chart where he said he'd been following Ethereum starting a downtrend right now, and he kind of drew a nice channel of this downtrend, and it seems to be more confirmed. So maybe, yeah, they are planning on, you know, selling the news with the consensus, the conference that's happening.
Yeah. So there were potential bullish setups. The model that I like to trade for continuation had a level hit that you should move your stop to scratch. And if it craps out and comes back down to this 25 level, you should just hop off. And that's basically what I'm counseling people. I think this is just too risky to be long right now. And of course, you know, if we do, you saw what we did with the ETC reload zone. If I really wanted to try and go and hunt value here, I'm probably going to be thinking about, you know, being a buyer against the 200 period moving average. That seems pretty logical. Cute little doji right in there. There was obviously a big battle right in that area right there. And I suppose, you know, that brings us, if we go reload zone, that brings us back down into this old traffic area here. I suppose we could also even maybe just do a nice little trend line off of these lows. You know, maybe something like that. Look at that. You can sort of see, you know, you always hear me talking about 3 reasons for a trade, right? Just trade location, trend line, reload zone, 200 SMA, old highs. I can start to see a trade location developing down. So, all right. And if anything, I think what might happen with that developer conference kind of thing is maybe we do something like this, right? Big up, neckline, head, neckline, shoulder, and then eventually down to there, right? Something like that. That's probably what I'd be looking for going forward. Especially with those momentum indicators looking as bad as they are. If they start, you know, and it's actually interesting. There was one coin that the momentum indicators were looking really, really bad. And I even put out a tweet. I said, fuck, guys, clean this OBV up. And they actually did that today. So I was very happy to see that. But as long as we're seeing M's here, oh boy, be careful, people, please. Do it for Brian. Be careful.
Do it for Brian. Good deal.
Okay,
Well,
we've been
I think we
talking
can
for a
probably.
while here. What do you think? Shall we call it a night?
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up. Thanks again, Brian, for everything you do here. It's always enlightening.
Did you guys enjoy that? Was that of any value?
It was excellent. I know everybody in the chat also is very thankful. So, is there some place that we can find you, Brian, when you're not doing this show?
Yeah, I hang out in a cupboard, but I won't show you that. This is my site, and actually, this is our. I love this. This is such a fucking cool site. This is our demonstration. Will has seen this literally from day one. We started with $500 with people, following appropriate risk management. So people harassing us and bugging us about our really, really small bets. But in essence, over the past 2.5 years now, we've slowly built this up to more than a 20-fold increase here just in raw Bitcoins. And just a staggering return in converted to currency. This is what we do. We are traders. I just run this model. It is a very specific model that's actually geared towards the public, little old lady. So, this is a message to the audience that, hey, anybody can get rich playing this game. You don't have to be Mr. Hot Balls to the Wall leverage trader. Yeah, we got off a pretty big trade here on Waves today. I was pretty happy about that. I can see Alex is inspecting. What did he do? What did he do? What did he do?
Yeah, I'm zooming in on it right now. I'll say you bought some APX. Nice. You bought some of the crowd sale from Uvic.
Where is that? Is that that's actually down here?
It's the blue piece on the top there.
Oh yeah. So these are our recent trades. Geez, I guess that was a week or
I'm
two.
surprised. I didn't think your fund would buy ICOs.
Why not? And besides, you're behind it. Half of the reason why I bought it was because of you. So you better not
now
fuck
you have trading within your trading. It's great, and
if anything, right, the whole purpose of this portfolio for the message from day one is, what do I want to be long? Do I want to be long Bitcoin? Do I want to be long UBIC? Well, sure. What do I really want to be long? I want to be long.
Is that what the purple is?
Crypto, right? I want to be long crypto. So, here we are, got about 154 coins right now, and just keep adding. But anyway, I sort of off topic. I apologize for kind of tooting my own horn. But I'm so proud of the hard work that we do here. And we're also educating people, which I absolutely love. Anyway, this is our home, rationalinvestor.co. I'm not quite sure why it says home test too, but anyway. Actually what's really cool is some really well-respected names in the crypto community have endorsed us. From what I'm hearing from people like Alex, he's actually saying that there are other people in the community that are feeling like we're doing good work here. So this is where you can find us. We are next school term. If you are interested, we're taking reservations for the fall. But I was just stampeded this spring. Frankly, I was shocked. Interesting challenge. So all you students who are watching this show, getting ready for next week, this is going to be a fun ride, guys. But always PMA, play from a position of strength, trade from trading plans, risk management, the whole thing. That's what I do. That's who I am. All right, that's my sales pitch.
Right on. I'll chime in and just say, if you guys enjoy, the platform that Brian's using, obviously Coinigy.com. Check it out. Tell your friends. Just one thing I wanted to let you guys know. You can get $15 if you refer a user that ends up becoming a subscriber. So definitely check that out. You can go under your preferences to find your referral link. And
what you have to do to sign up is you go Coinigy.com/Blocktalk, and then you'll get the best service. It will run slightly faster.
Yeah, we'll let that slide. We'll let that one slide.
Hey, wait! What just happened there? Something just happened there.
Yeah, no, Coinigy.
You guys have great tools.
You have some great tools for traders, and Brian, you're providing great services like in financial literacy, as people need to be more well versed that way. And
Alex,
if you want,
Alex used that term recently. I was very
and
impressed.
if you like the the financial literacy you get with Brian, but you want to learn more technical literacy, you can watch my channel Blocktalk. So youtube.com/Blocktalk. Also on Twitter, I'm block_talk. And yeah, I'm just trying to understand what the hell is going on in this space, just like the rest of us. And if you want to come along for that journey, suggest any coins for me to interview, send the developers my way. If you have a project that you're looking for some advice on, I do provide that as well.
Get us a TRI coin, right? Or a token on the Rubik network.
That ticker's already taken. That's Triangle Coin, but we'll find one for you. We'll do a
TRI.ca.
Yeah, or TRI, whatever you prefer. Find the ticker, Brian, and I'll make the token.
Yeah, no. So the audience, what's really cool is Alex is going to use me as a guinea pig. So, and he already did the APX, right? That was the name of it, right?
Yeah. So we have 2 tokens on the network now.
Really, I'm watching how that, and that's why I took a big chunk of it too. Is I'm watching it to see how that whole story evolves, and that's why I asked you earlier how it was going with that.
Well, we can talk soon, Brian. I'll have you on the show. Maybe we'll discuss what your token will do. Same with Coinigy.
That's a good question. I haven't figured that out yet.
What is the use case? What is the fundamental story? Why should I be long, Brian?
Yeah, well, I mean, the cool part about it is, I just can't believe the growth of this silly altcoin. I know. Shut up.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody relax. Everybody calm down. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. And I got to get in the traditional, don't forget to like and subscribe. We try to do this show every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. No idea what time it is in Europe right now, or in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in Hawaii, not sure. But definitely like and subscribe. I'm waiting. Go ahead, it's right over here somewhere. Click that button, click subscribe. Now I'm that guy. Anyways, thanks for watching. Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Toodles.